and I will be here with Janae, who is right here with me. Hi, Janae. Introduce yourself.
I'm Janae Robinson. I'm a physical education teacher for the last 20 years, and I've been in education for 25 years. So I'm excited to be here with you today.
Yes, it's Thursday. We're almost at Friday.
I know, almost there.
Yes, almost. Yes. So, what are we going to be talking about today?
Okay, so if you've been rocking with us for the last 7 weeks, this would be day 56, or 8 weeks. It's 8 weeks. 8 weeks. This will be day 56 on your PE log. If you have gone ahead and started tracking your physical activity for your students, so go ahead and write that in. Today's date, and then we'll just go from there. Also, in addition to logging on your PE log, we're going to really talk about your core. Christine and I were having a conversation about her son being able to write legibly. And so we had a conversation about your core and how it's important in your everyday development. So we'll kind of talk about a little bit of that and give you some exercises that are great, and talk about nutrition as well. I'm going to always talk about nutrition because that's really what drives or fuels our students when we talk about them being proactive when we're approaching their education.
Awesome. Yeah, that's amazing.
Okay, so we'll just jump right in. So what is your core? What are core exercises? When I ask you that, what do you think, Natasha? What do you think a core is?
Well, so when I think of core, I think of my belly, which needs some work.
I know, right? When COVID first hit, it was like we all had to transition, and to be in the house, we all started doing that board eating and just going back and forth to the refrigerator. And that's okay if we're eating what's good for us and we're watching how much we eat and the types of things that we eat. And we talked about a couple of weeks back a lot of different things that we can do to increase our health when we're eating, as well as whatever you pull in is what your body will put out. And so when we talk about core exercise, you're absolutely right. Not only is your core your belly, it could be your hamstrings, your glutes, it could be your upper abs, your lower abs, and just core exercises trains the muscle in your pelvis, your lower back, your hips, and your abdomen to work in harmony. And if you think about harmony, you can tell when something's not in tune, right?
Yes.
So 9 times out of 10, if your body is out of whack, it's probably your core. And when you have a great core, it will lead to a better balance. It's sustainability, stability, whether on the playing field, in daily activities. And in fact, most sports and other physical activity depends on a stable core muscle. So you think about it. As a child, being a PE teacher of elementary students, you want to teach them all of the necessities in order to have a better lifelong wellness. What can they learn now that will take them into lifelong wellness? Because we look at our bodies and know, oh, something's not right, And I'll tell you, I got a lot of flack in my district with the parents, because they would see me have my first graders out in PE doing V-sits, doing push-ups, planks, and I had to always explain when in the state of California, first graders, one of their PE requirements, I think it's like 3.3. I want to say it's like standard 3.3, where they have to be able to hold a V-sit, a push-up, a plank for a long period of time, a squat, and so what parents don't realize is not having a strong core can affect your just day-to-day activities. So we say first graders. Do you think first graders can write very clearly? In your
No,
opinion?
absolutely
And
not.
what about holding the pencil?
It's a struggle for sure.
It's a struggle. And teachers will give the students these like handy dandy little things to help them grip the pencil and all those things. Well, if your child has OT, occupational therapy, your occupational therapist will tell you before you start anything with the fine gross motor skills, holding pencils and all that, it's probably your child's core.
Yeah.
It's probably because they don't have a strong core to be able to be, able to grab that pencil correctly. And, I had to think about it, Christine and I was having that conversation. I had to think about it like, gosh, like everything has to do with your core muscles. And by first grade, the state of California says a first grader should be able to master that. And it's like, why should you strengthen your core muscles? Why do you think?
So you'll be more healthy.
You'll be more healthy. And I mean, it's an important part of your well-rounded fitness program.
Yeah.
Aside from occasional sit-ups, push-ups, your core exercises often are neglected because we don't think about a core. We don't say core. We say, get your abs. Look at that mommy roll or your muffin top, right?
True. Yes.
But I'll tell you, your core plays a big part of just your everyday well-roundedness in your fitness program. The muscles around your trunk and your pelvis in better shape, I'm telling you, it would bring things so much easier to people if they understood what the core exercises do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you talk a lot about eating healthy as well, right? And I think part of the problem is that healthier food is more expensive, right? So like, what are the options when it's easier to just go get the pizza, or, especially when you're at home, you're working from home, you want your kids to eat healthy, but it's easier to grab something that's frozen out of the freezer.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, for my house, I had to, really cut back on the processed food because, again, it's a two-parent working family, and even my older daughter, she's working. And it's like, it's easier just to grab that $5 pizza than to go pay $5 for potatoes and, whatever, rice, and get it going. But what I'll tell you, it takes hard work to start off. But if you start off small, for example, in my pantry right now, I have a bag of potatoes that have been sitting there because it's hot and they started, the roots started coming out. Well, get a bucket. It has to say number 2 on the bottom. The recycled number is number 2. Get a bucket, YouTube growing potatoes in the bucket. I did. And then you can start off with the potatoes. Number one, what that will do is it will allow the kids, number one, to have a science project goal. And then 2, you can start learning how to be sustainable within this economy. And then you can get all of your old foods, start planting those in water and start looking at your neighborhood food banks, or not food banks, but your neighborhood gardens. We have one, and we took a walk about 2 days ago, and it's neglected.
Right.
Each neighborhood should have a food garden, and one garden per street is really what we need to be doing. So I know you ask how. It will take at least 50 to 75 days to harvest your food, but it's worth it. Go to the 99-cent store. Start off with the easy things that's going to be a quick turnaround. I'll say, like, I know for me, it was, honey, what is it, the green onions?
Green onions, cabbage, lettuce, onions.
Those are the quick turnaround things those are quick. And you can start off small like that. And even in your house, if you don't live, we have a big yard back here, and we have the room to be able to have a garden and, have buckets, have it in the ground. But even in your house, if you live in an apartment, I've seen one of my boys' teachers, she grew celery, green onions, and some, I think it was lettuce, in cups of water.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's such a great lesson for the kids to see how stuff grows. Like, that's amazing. Like, here we are teaching from home. Like, what better lesson is that? Just learn how to grow something from the beginning. Well, I love it.
And that will be like cross-content learning as well. I know in this time, a lot of our parents are struggling, trying to figure out, even for myself, I'm going to be transparent right now. It's been a struggle, and I've shared before, it's been a struggle. And I looked at, some of the areas that my boys were having challenges in. I noticed science was being neglected. So that would be a perfect science project for the kids to be able to research and really jump right into it, and then talk about nutrition would basically, tie the two contents together.
I love it. Since we have this show weekly, we should do something like start one week and start with a potato. This is what it's this week, and next week we'll see how the progress is going.
You know what? Let's get the potato.
Let's do it. I love it.
You grab the potato out of the pantry because you're in the shot. You might as well go ahead and, I'm trying.
What a great idea. I have so much potatoes too sitting around.
Potatoes, and even when you have your bell pepper and you cut the bell pepper, the seeds in there. Yeah. I went out a couple of weeks ago and I went to go and price how much it would cost me. And they're running about $2.
Wow. Yeah,
that's great. How it's coming out?
Yeah, this is so cute.
Right?
It looks like a little person with a little picture.
Right? And so when I Googled it, and it gave me a guy on YouTube, he and his wife, they actually grow produce and things out of buckets. Wow, and he told me what to do. And so I started, one of mine, I wanted to take you outside, but one of my plants is starting to come up a little bit. I think Christina, the next time that she's live, I'll have her. She has a totally off the chain garden in the house. That's
awesome.
We call it a terrarium.
Yeah. Okay. I want to be down.
Right. So, we have to also get our kids to rethink what they're eating. If they see the process going on, I think that it would be, really good for kids to see the foods being grown so that they can buy in, because as an educator, the biggest thing you want your kids to do is buy into what you're talking about. And then you can tap into what they already know from what they're learning in class. I know my son, I thought I had it right here. My son had a mailer that came home, really nice graphics, and it talked about growing lettuce. And that mailer that they sent home was what I used to start ours off. And I'm just waiting for them to, the seeds to, is it germinate? Germinate?
I don't know. That sounds good though.
Physical education live. I am so not an agriculturist. I'm just not.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it's total buy-in. And then some of the activities that I send home, like with the nutrition activity or home plays that I send home, they give a healthy eating option, how to make it, how to grow it if you wanted to do that. And then it ties into a physical activity. So, it's all really, really cool. And it'll give the parents a sense of achievement, because sometimes you don't really always see, the accolades, especially now. Parents are at home with their kids 24 hours a day. I've told my son 17 times I'm going live. I know we've heard him about 19.
Oh, your kids are cute. Oh, please, don't worry. It's all good. Our viewers understand. We're all
right.
Come
but that's the mind frame. Like, the mind frame is like, we got to get this, but we have this to achieve. And it's really difficult. And so I know for myself, I had to look at, I'm not getting enough water. And I spoke to my doctor this morning, and I told him my legs are starting to really feel not crampy, but I know when I'm dehydrated. First place that hits me, of course, is your mouth. Thirst is like the first sign of dehydration. But when you are in your shins, you're really dehydrated. Yeah. So I know for myself, I need to push away from the juices, push away from the, pre-mixed Tang. Tang is our friend right now, because they're going back and forth to the pantry, and it's so much water that's being left out and they don't give kids not being drunk. So it's like all these water bottles. I'm going like
everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere. I have the same problem.
Man. So, getting back, sidebar, I was going down a rabbit hole. Let's bring it back. So, just talking about your core, some of the exercises, I'll give you all a couple. There's a lot more, but I also will tell you to research everything for yourself, because again, I can give a lesson based off of the data that I get from my students daily by watching them. You know, I notice things about them. So I'll give you a couple of exercises that I know that I'm working on right now for myself, core exercises, and then also some modifications. You want to make sure that you're not doing so much exercise and you're doing it exactly how the example is. You want to modify it. You know,
Okay.
if you haven't been working out, first of all, you need to contact your, health provider. And I know that a lot of health providers are not doing in-person visits. You can set up an online or over the phone appointment just to talk about, your body mass index. That's the percentage of body fat to your height and weight. Um,
Yeah.
if it's
That's so
high, like I'm not
important.
going to
Yeah.
even tell mine online, but mine is in the unhealthy zone. Then you want to discuss the plan before you start any exercise routine, anything, because there's a lot of stuff out there that people are doing. And, the keto, that's the new one right now, right? Keto.
Yeah.
I couldn't do keto.
Me
That's
neither.
me personally. And then a buddy of mine went into ketosis and he was in a coma.
What? Really?
Yeah, so you
Incredible.
want to make sure you're really talking to a health care provider, but getting to those exercises, the bird dog crunch. If you want to write this down, viewers, go ahead and write them down, and you can also YouTube them to see how they're done, and then I'll go back and link some links in the comments so you guys can see them. But the bird dog crunch, what that targets is your abs, your hamstring, your glutes, and your shoulders. And those areas don't develop overnight. And again, when we're talking about children and their fine gross motor skills, their ability to hold balls, their ability to hold pencils, you want to make sure you're doing this on a schedule where you're starting to see some improvement in those core areas, not just go out there and just go to town and then expect results tomorrow. Okay.
So you would suggest starting off slow if you haven't really done anything, right?
Starting off slow, and like these exercises that I'm giving you are like for more beginners. You have some students even that are more advanced than others, especially if their parents are in the fitness industry or in the kinesiology industry or the physical education industry. Kinesiology, they're going to be more advanced because they're exposed to different things. So I know at one of my schools, my Wednesday school, I have a lot of kids whose parents are physical educators. And so sometimes I give them activities and they're looking like, Coach, really? But again, as a PE teacher, I'm only there once a week. So I
True.
can't always give like hardcore because it takes 3 days to get out of shape. So if I go to one school once a week,
3 days? Did you just say 3 days?
it
Oh
takes
my God.
3 days to
That's
get
it. It's a
out
wrap.
of shape. So once you get there, you have to stay there. So you
Oh,
figure if you have my class on Friday, Monday, you're done.
oh
You're
boy.
done. So, you have the that first one, if you want to write these down, viewers, it's the bird dog crunch. Again, these are for beginners.
Okay.
You have the standing bicycle crunch. This one works on your obliques and your rotational muscles. So your obliques would be those side love handles.
Oh,
So
love
your
those.
rojas. You have your seated leg lifts is another one. Sit-ups. Now you have to be careful about sit-ups. I don't really like to tell people to do sit-ups. I say curl-ups because you're not bringing your whole body up. You can hurt your back. So curl-ups is what the Fitness Gram, the California Fitness Gram, that's their test for elementary students. So I try to stay what the state tells us or what the state mandates us to do or the ramifications or the guideline to stay within. So I would say curl ups opposed to sit ups. And if you Google it or YouTube it, you can see the difference.
You know, with so many people are on Zoom meetings, maybe some exercises that they can do just sitting there, right? That would be pretty cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what? I was going to see how we can incorporate something within our Thursday where it would be, you know, how we can model some of the exercises for parents as well as the students, because a lot of my kiddos, I'm sending out videos for them. I think it would be, you know, prime for, you know, us to model to the parents how to teach the kids. So that's a thought, you
I
know.
love it. I'm down for that. I think
Well,
that would be
I'm
great.
down. I'm so
Yeah.
down. When we get my kids involved, they will be really, really excited. And I know Christina's kids, they're always ready, helpful and ready to go.
Yeah.
So the fifth one is the modified bicycle crunch. And that one works on, I already said that one. So the spider plank crunch. That targets your lower abs, your glutes, and still have fuel left in your tank. You can start doing, let me give you another one that's kind of more complex. It would be the full out planks. You know, you have the pseudo plank where you're on your forearm, or the forearm plank where you're on your forearms. If you can get your arms in a push-up position, but you're not, you're just in a plank and you're holding, and then you alternate, you know, holding on one side to the other. That's a more challenging one. And I know if you can't really hold your body weight, like now I've gotten to the point where my body weight, it's difficult for me to hold it for a long time in push-up position.
Yeah.
You want to modify as best as possible. And any time that you're going to start an activity, you want to do what? Number one, you want to contact who?
Your doctor.
Your doctor. And then number two is, what do you think?
I don't know. So let's see. We're gonna call the doctor first, and then we're going to, I don't know, stretch.
Yes, you want to always stretch. Before you do any exercise program, you want to stretch those muscles out, because again, we're in the house, we're sitting on the couch, and then we get motivated. We're like watching TV. We're like, yes, we can do this. Get it. Oh, I hurt myself. And if you're not really familiar with first aid, you know, first aid tips, or you're not trained in first aid, CPR, you don't want to go to the hospital.
And especially like with this virus going on, you don't want to go to the hospital anyway. So you just got to be super careful.
You want to be super careful. And I would suggest, before you start doing any exercises, I would suggest to walk, jog, run for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Walk, jog, run. I would start off walking, and it just, not even a lot, just walk around your neighborhood. Or if you're going to the grocery store for your essential needs, park further away from the door.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Park further away from the door. So, you know, you want to make sure that you're keeping healthy and you're being mindful. And again, parents that are watching, you also want to make sure that you're taking your time and giving yourself breaks to be able to digest a lot of these changes that's going on. Because here in California, it was said that we're going to go back to school probably July.
Really?
That's what our state's superintendent said. I'm not sure what that's looking like. I don't have the news. I don't watch the news.
Okay. Good. That's good. Don't watch the news. It's not good for your mental health.
Yeah, it is. And I'm like, you know, because of some challenges in my life with the passing of my son, it had me in a panic because he passed from E. coli bacteria.
Oh my God.
And so you figure COVID, you know, E. coli.
Oh my God.
I'm like, oh my goodness, like, I don't want to watch the news. So I just stay away from it to stay healthy, mentally healthy. But, you know, you want to make sure that as parents that you're taking one day at a time. If you mess up, do over. If you mess up, do over. Start the day over, and keep in contact with those teachers. If your child is not passing, you want to make sure that you're keeping in contact with the teacher, and you're really not putting your business out there, but you're saying your work is too much. And that's okay. I would have loved for parents to say, you know, Coach Robinson, when I was a classroom teacher, this class is a bit much. This class is a bit much. It's too much homework. I can't keep up. I'm not understanding. That way you build a relationship, because I'll be honest, teachers are not going to tell you this, but I'll be the first one to tell you, we're having it rough. We're having it rough, getting everything online, and then to be told that we might have to go back. A lot of my colleagues are not really happy. Colleagues across the nation, not just here in California, but my colleagues across the nation are like, we were thrown into this. We were learning on the way. We had to be vulnerable to tell our parents and our students, we just don't know. And, you know, so
But
I
we
just
still have
want
to speak out, right? Well, you know, as parents,
yeah,
we got to say, like, this is not okay. And when we go back, it's going to look different. Like, it can't
it's
be the
gonna
same.
look different.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, I really want to reiterate the nutrition piece about what you put in your body. We had a burger. We've been eating at home for the last 6 weeks.
Oh, that's awesome.
We had a burger. We had a burger yesterday, and I can literally feel my liver and my kidney filtering the food, and I didn't feel well. So what did I do? I grabbed that water and I said, you know, let me drink this water, and then model to my boys, like, don't chug down the Coke, you know. But we tried to give them a treat. You know, they've been really working hard with this online enrichment. And I'll tell you, I'm going back to the home cooked meals, and I kind of know what I'm putting in. I mean, I can't, you know, really speak for what pesticides and things are being used, or the beef and chicken, but I'll tell you, I'll know I can control the cholesterol aspect and how much I'm putting in my body. But I'm telling you, you know, getting that core together, getting what you eat, it's all academic. It's all about concentration. It's all about living a healthier lifestyle. So when our children are older, they'll understand what to do.
And then teach their kids,
And
right?
teach their
This
kids.
is generational, right? This is what I
Absolutely.
learned from my mother, and I'm teaching it to my kids. It's all this,
You know,
We gotta
that's
do
really
better, better.
unique way of thinking, because, you know, I'm very into my my beliefs, and it's said that it should go on for generation and generation and generation. We're supposed to touch at least 4.
Yeah.
And, you know, we grew up multicultural, eating different things, and a lot of the foods weren't always healthy. But when we know better, we do better. We don't say ditch who we are culturally and our heritages, and that's what makes us unique. But now that we know, we can tweak those recipes to be lead a more healthy lifestyle. And that way our children won't be so prone to say, oh, it's fun day, let's go get a burger.
Yes, this is so true. This mindset, and this virus is going to end up being a blessing in the end, because we're going to come out more healthy,
Yep.
eating healthier, and stop eating so much takeout and all the processed food. You're right. And that's it. Teach our kids how to grow food, how to cook the food, how to eat the food healthier. I love it. I'm so inspired.
And the kids, you know, I'll tell you, my special needs population, they love outside. They love it outside. They love, you know, just the touching, you know, the tactile aspect of PE, and the kinesthetic aspect of PE. I'll tell you, getting down and dirty with your hands and learning how to do things with your hand is all kinesthetic. That's PE, you know. It's PE. And I'll tell you, my students, I miss them so much. I cried yesterday. I miss my kiddos so much. I miss them so much. And, you know, I just want to be an inspiration to those watching, and, you know, love on our parents and say, good job. Give me a high five.
Yes, I love it.
You know, and then make a funny face.
Yeah, okay, make that funny face. I love it. You're amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you every week coming on our show and sharing all your knowledge with our viewers. It means so much to me and so many parents out there. We really appreciate you.
Okie
Have a
dokie.
great, wonderful rest of your day. Have a nice weekend. I'm looking forward to hearing you next week. All
Awesome,
right.
awesome.
Take care. Mwah. Bye.
Bye.